Welcome back to the second channel. Today we are going to be doing something that's quite common on these cars. We have a top mount that needs to be replaced. Because we're doing one, we're going to do both. I've done one already, so I'm going to show you the second one, talk you through how I do them, and yeah, hopefully you'll learn something from today's video.
Let's just pause the video right here. I removed the entire hub and strut assembly when changing top mounts, and this is why. This is the strut pinch bolt that goes through the hub to hold the strut in place, and on these cars it is made of cheese. If yours has not been removed for a long time, it will probably snap. So as you can see here, I'm pointing out the strut pinch bolt. If yours looks corroded, rusty, or it looks like it's not moved in a long time, this will be the method I would employ to change your top mounts. Let's get back to the intro and let's get into it.
Couple of preambles before we get too involved. You will need a set of spring compressors. Now I just use some cheapo ones from Screwfix. They're not the best, but they have done the job many times. In fact, so many times I'll probably have to get another set soon because they're starting to wear out on the threads. And you will need to jack up both sides of the car, so make sure that you have a pair of axle stands, that you get the car up at the front both sides for the anti-roll bar. Drop links to be undone, because if you only have one side up, it means that the anti-roll bar is doing its job and it makes it extremely difficult to get it out. So before we get into today's video, quickly go and jack the car up, get both up in the air, and then we'll be ready to go. So join me in a minute and I'll talk you through how I do this. Right, so this is the side that we've done already, so just to quickly show you what we're talking about. This is the new top mount that I put in. This is a Corteco top mount. I generally tend to use Corteco or genuine, depending on what's provided, but if someone asks me to fit them, I generally tell them where to order them from. But yeah, Corteco ones, pretty good. Use them on many cars, not had any issues with them yet. Length order and that depends on where it's made, but yeah. So you can see this side is still up in the air. I'll put the wheel back on. There's an axle stand underneath there. The other side is ready to come off. So what to do is, you see it's jacked up on there. There's an axle stand on there. We're going to get that wheel off and then I will set you up. So let me quickly grab that wheel there. 17mm socket to get those off. I use a nylon one so I don't damage the alloy. But yeah, let me get that off. Then I'll set the camera up. Then I'll talk you through how we're going. Okay, so there is quite a bit going on down here that we need to remove. Now, like I've said already, I take off the whole hub strut assembly. It's longer to do it this way if this bolt on the back is rusty, which I'll show you in a minute. So that is for the drive shaft a 32mm nut. Now, the reason why we have both sides up in the air, one for the drop link, two, because if we leave the key in ignition we can turn the wheel like so and we can move this around, and that makes it easier for us to get the caliper off, all that sort of stuff. So this has a grub screw retaining one, and it's a T50 that holds that in. Yours may be different, it depends. A lot of the time they've been rounded off or someone's drilled them out, so but this one is fine. This is a T50, so I'm going to put that on there. It's important to undo that before you take the caliper off, because if you need to, you can put a screwdriver in there to stop the wheel from turning, which means it'll make your life a little bit easier. Now, we do need to take this arch lining forward just a little bit, because we've got our ABS and our brake pad wear sensor cables in there. So a lot of the time these are going to be stuck in, but let's see how many of them come out. These are Phillips screws. What is handy with these, if they are stuck, you can use a trim removal tool up behind it. That will help free it off a little bit. And if it doesn't help, then if you heat up your screwdriver with a little bit of gas, that can make a bit of a difference. So You can see that's just holding that behind it has helped that considerably. So that one is fine. Now I've worked on this car a few times. I've actually put a new engine in this one and a new gearbox, and it is an automatic, so it is very, very heavy, very labour intensive. But what it does mean is that I've probably changed these plastic screws before. So you've got 4 there. There's also one up here. You can see it's been well used. It's not a show pony by any stretch of imagination, but the owner of this car does love it, so there is also one Phillips screw right at the top, but sometimes you don't need to take that out. There we go. Right, so let me just tuck this behind here, like so. So I'm just going to move that out of the way for a minute. And what we need to get access to is this bit here. So these are your ABS, the blue, brake pad wear, black, and we need to disconnect them. Unclip them from underneath and just pull them out of there, like so. Right. And as you can see, the cabling is now here. Now the brake pad wear sensor, we are not taking that off, but what we will need to do is, because it has these little rubber tabs on, these are rubbish, so we're going to cut these cable ties off here, and that will allow us to separate these two out together. So let me quickly grab a pair of cutters and get them out of the way. It's quite common with the brake pad wear sensors that they will be cable tied, because it's actually quite a poor design. These little, they're sort of, you can see one there that you pull that through and it's supposed to lock it into place, but it doesn't. Just make sure when you're doing this you don't cut through the wire, because otherwise you will have to either remove the ABS sensor or the brake pad wear sensor. And if you're going to do one of them, make sure you cut the brake pad wear sensor, because the ABS one can be a real pain, especially if it's been in there a long time. Right, so there we go, that's out. Right. Now what we can do is put that wheel arch back for now. We'll not put them plastic screws back in, but we will put the wheel arch just roughly back into place, because we don't need to worry too much about that, just to make things a little bit easier for us, especially because we are filming. I'm going to put one of these plastic screws back in just to hold it into place for now. I'll do the one up here. That's it. Okay, so next thing, let's get this caliper out of the way. So on top you've got your brake line that goes through there. We're just going to pull that out, so both sides of it, just wiggle it, that rubber bung will come loose. Turn it full lock. Caliper is held in by two 16mm bolts. There's one there and there's also one down the bottom there that you can see, so we just need to gun them out. Let's quickly find my 16mm. Come on there. If we turn this full lock, it should make it a bit easier for us. Like so. Now, you can see the brake disc is also loose, ideally you want to split these. So take the caliper off, take the brake disc off, brake disc can go to one side, and the caliper can just rest on the floor. Make sure it's not pulling on the brake line there, so this will just rest down, but if it's stretching that, then what I would advise that you do is get a hook it through the caliper. You can hang it up here for now, and then when it comes to taking it out, you can just hang it down there. For me, this is fine, it's not a problem, it's not causing me no issues. Right, so it's a good time to make sure your drive shaft is loose, so just give it a little wiggle. If it's quite stiff, which some of them are, put a bit of penetrating spray around there. Do not hit the end of it, because if you mushroom it, you're going to be in a world of pain. If it's a bit stiff, put the nut back on, put the socket over it, just very, very gently tap it. Do not be smacking it. There is something you can smack in a minute, but don't smack that, because you can damage your gearbox, the drive shaft, all that sort of stuff. Right, so let's turn this full lock. Right, now what we need to do is get onto our track rod end bolt. This one's a little bit corroded, and a drop link down there. Now these typically are 15 or 16 mil. This is a 15. The drop links, if they've been changed before, they could be any size, so just bear that in mind. Right, so when it is like that, what I tend to do is just leave the nut on the end very gently, and then tap it with a little club hammer until it comes out. Sounds worse than it is. Just wiggle it free. I'll put the nut back on the end so we don't lose it. And as for this drop link, I think that's a 15 as well, actually. Yeah, so that's a 15, but what we're going to do is use, rather than a long one, we're going to use a small 15. There should be enough space in there. Right, this is why the car is still jacked up, because this on here will be a bit of a pain to get out. It's loose for now, so that's fine. Okay, and last but not least, this is the one that causes the most headache for people. Okay, hopefully that's a good enough angle to show you. So the lower ball joint is generally an 18 mil. Now, what we want to do for this is make sure the car is a little bit higher. So let's get it up in the air a little bit more. Obviously watch that brake line. And as is hanging a little bit, but it's still not terrible. Right, let's get this nut out. So 18 mil. Nice and easy. And this is the bit people struggle with. So to get this off, what you need to do is club hammer, and you need to hit it in this section here. Now the problem from where I am, it's not the best angle, so basically you want to tap it there, but it needs a bit of force behind it. So I'm probably going to find a good angle to hit it, set the camera up, and then you'll see what I mean. Still not free yet. go. So yeah, as you can see, it is quite heavy. So yeah, let me just cut it there, and then I'll show you the next stage. Because now, as you can see, that is pretty much loose. So now that bottom ball joint is loose there from that lower arm. Before we go any further, we just need to push the drive shaft through. So we're going to push that through the wheel bearing, pop it out the back and just rest it down gently. That means now we should be good to just remove the 3 13mm nuts on top. So what we're going to do now, there are 3 13mm nuts on top. We need to hold the struts with one hand, loosen these off with the other, and it should just come loose on the third one coming off. Like so. Just need to pull it down and gently remove it. Okay, so this is our hub and strut assembly. And there are a few things to check while this is out of the car. The main reason why we have taken all of this out rather than just splitting it is because this nut on here tends to corrode in and it ends up snapping. This might seem like a longer way of doing it, but actually, providing that the strut and the spring is in good condition, this could possibly save you hours of time doing it this way, because if that breaks, you've got to drill that out. The common replacement for this, once you've drilled it out, is to use the R56 nut and bolt, because they use a slightly different setup and it does work on here. But I don't know about you, but I wouldn't want to spend hours drilling out that long bolt on there, because it does come all the way through to here. Personally, this is a little bit more labour intensive, but it could save you hours in the long run. Also gives you a chance to check everything out as well while it's at the car. So we've got a lower ball joint here. We want to make sure that that is not split and there's no grease anywhere. That's all looking good. Make sure it's nice and stiff. Drop link, same thing. Make sure the boots are okay, not split. This is your wheel hub, ABS sensor, spring, and then your suspension strut. Our one all looks okay. So what we're going to do now is move on to removing the top mount, which is up this side. So I'm going to bring you around here. Now there are a couple of things you need to do on here. So first of all, there is a little grease cap on the end, very small screwdriver. You can just prise that off. That is all good. What we need to do is get our spring compressors on. Now, spring compressors are not fun. If you mess up with these, you could end up losing an eye, damaging your car, certainly damaging your face. So take your time with them. Make sure you're happy that they're in a decent position before you start to undo that top nut. So this is a 21mm spring compressor. These were dirt cheap from Screwfix. They were like less than 15 quid. I've used them many times before, but they are coming towards the end of their usable life. So if you see on here, the thread on there is starting to not look the best. So we probably will pick up another set soon, but they will do for today. So the trick to these is they don't need to be all the way down. What we need them to do is just hold the spring. So we just need to take a little bit of tension off of the top, which this may or may not do, but we will see. Looks okay. Right. Typically with these, the strut will spin in the middle. So the way that I stop this, like little wrongly, is to use a cloth, fold it up a little bit, and we hold the strut with some water pump pliers, and then we undo the top mount. It's again 21mm, which is fine. That should just come off nicely. There is a washer underneath there, make sure that stays on. I'll leave them in place for a minute, just grab the new one. So as I said before, I only use these Corteco ones, part numbers on there if you want it. I'll leave a link in the description to where you can get them from if you're in the UK. I just order mine from Mini Motorsport, but there are other places out there, eBay, Eurodoc, Autodoc, places like that. So I'm just going to quickly get that started by hand. Hold that down. Again, grip the strut with your water pump pliers, just tighten it up. Take that off, no damage to the strut. Put that cap back on. Loosen off the spring compressors very carefully. And that is the top mount changed. Now what we need to do is a reversal of the removal. So I'll time lapse the putting it back on, but what I'll do is when we get to the end we have to torque up some of the bolts for drive shaft hub nut and the top mount nuts that go on here. So I'll talk you through what I set them to. Same with putting the wheel back on the car at the end. We always torque the wheels on these cars. Again, you don't have to. I'm pretty certain if you'd done it so it was just tight, you'd be fine. But as a matter of precaution, I end up doing it on wheels. Definitely that, and these, because these are common to mushrooming and splitting and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, let's quickly time lapse through there, and then we'll go through the torque settings at the end. Right, so this is something that you might come across as well. Right, I thought I'd quickly show you how I'll deal with this. So this is just spinning down here, it's not going on. So the way to get around this issue is you need a little hydraulic jack, or you can use your own jack or the emergency one in the car. Basically what we're going to do is apply some pressure from underneath just to hold it up like so, and then if we go onto it now, that is as good as gold. So just to show you that from a bit more of a distance away, this is just a little bottle jack that I've got. But yeah, you basically put it underneath whatever it is. It could be this lower ball joint, so you put it on the lower arm. In this case it's the track rod end. Just put it underneath, push the pressure up, and then you can screw it screw it down. Now, this probably happens more often than not, so if you do get it, don't panic. Just get your jack, put it underneath. If you haven't got enough space because the car's too high up, just do what I've done, use a block of wood, and then that'll solve that problem. A few things that I personally torque up using a torque wrench. Now you guys don't have to, I do it just as a matter of principle. These top mount nuts, they are 34 Newton meters. I'll put it on screen as well, but so that's the first one. It's had a newish wheel bearing on it and it's not been done before, so this is 182 Newton meters, so it is super tight. Now you're best off putting the steering lock on so you're not moving around when you're doing it, and putting your strong arms on. They recommend you use a new nut for the drive shaft. Now obviously you can probably buy these separately, but it's just come in a wheel bearing kit, so the reason why we've had to use a new one is because the old one you can see on there is broken there. So even if you wanted to reuse it, you know, we could probably knock it in around this side, but it's not great practice, so put a new one on. Dented that centre bit there just to lock it into place. Now we've got to do is pop the wheel back on. Alright, thank you for watching. Hopefully that's helped some of you out, and like I say, hopefully seeing that strut pinch bolt, you'll understand why it might take slightly longer, but it's definitely going to save you time in the long run. If you find that's quite rusty and it breaks, then you've got to literally spend hours drilling it out, and you need pretty good drill bits as well. You can't just use normal stainless steel HSS ones, you need some really good ones. Most of the time when that happens, you tend to find people just asking for a whole new hub assembly with the pinch bolt already removed. So save yourself the time, save yourself the ag, and especially if you're using the car daily, then you know you don't want to be off the road because that bolt's broken on a weekend when you're going to do a job, and then you've obviously got no car. So if you take out the whole assembly, yes, it's a bit more work, but it could save you time in the long run. Hopefully that's been useful. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up, leave a comment down below, subscribe to the channel, follow the main channel if you haven't done so already, and I'll catch up with you soon. Oh, by the way, if there is anything else you want covered off, let me know in the comments. I'll make a list, and next time we do one of those particular jobs, and yeah, we'll get on to that as well. Thanks for watching.